Number 1 is a difference of two squares, x squared minus 81. X squared is the perfect square of x. 81 is the perfect square of 9. So the factored form is x plus 9, x minus 9, and the order of those binomials does not matter. This one is also difference of two squares. 16x squared is the perfect square of 4x. 9y squared is the perfect square of 3y. So 4x plus 3y and 4x minus 3y. Again, the order doesn't matter as long as it is 4x and 3y with one of them addition, one of them subtraction. Number 3, if you know how to recognize it, this is actually a perfect square trinomial. But you can just factor this the way we have before. The answer choices do give you a little bit of a clue about how to factor this. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to give us 49 and add up to 14. That would be 7 and 7. So x plus 7, which we rewrite as x plus 7 squared. Question 4 on the test, it won't have the parentheses. I don't know why I put parentheses there. But it's x cubed minus 64. This is the difference of two cubes, which is the third formula up here in this formula bank, the formula bank that's at the top of every single problem on this test and review. X cubed is the perfect cube of x. 64 is the perfect cube of 4. So everywhere that you see a u, you're going to put x. Everywhere you see a v, you're going to put 4. So it's x, 4, x squared, 4x, and then 4 squared, which is 16. The first symbol always matches what you started with. So since it's difference of two cubes, it's going to be x minus. The next symbol is the opposite, and the last symbol is always plus. So it's minus plus plus, go away keyboard, which is, looks like this option. X minus 4, x squared plus 4x plus 16. The next one is sum of two cubes. 8m cubed is the perfect cube of 2m. 125n cubed is the perfect cube of 5n. So sum of two cubes, we do 2m and 5n. This number needs to be 2m squared. That's 2m times 2m, which is 4m squared. The middle number needs to be 2m times 5n, so that's going to be 10mn. And the last number needs to be 5n squared, which would be 25n squared. The first symbol has to match what we started with. The next symbol is the opposite of that, and the final symbol is plus. So it's 2m plus 5n. Looks like all of them look like that, so there's no like weird things going on. Honestly, on this one, if you know how the symbols are supposed to be, you have your answer. You don't even have to do the whole problem. You just have to get the symbols correct. So it should be plus minus plus. That is this one. Number 6, we start solving the equation. So we have 2x squared equals 64x. We need to get one side equal to 0, keeping our x squared term positive whenever possible. These two things have 2x in common. 2x squared divided by 2x is x. Negative 64x divided by 2x would be negative 32. If this part had to equal 0, x would be 0. If this part had to equal 0, x would be positive 32. So 0 and positive 32. Select all that apply. X squared minus 5x minus 6 equals 0. We need two numbers that multiply to give us negative 6 and add up to negative 5. That would be negative, I think, positive 1 and negative 6. So the factored form is x plus 1, x minus 6. If the first set of parentheses equaled 0, our solution would be negative 1. If the second part was 0, our solution would be positive 6. So negative 1 and positive 6. (16x squared minus 72x plus 85 equals 4. We need to get 0 on one side first. Okay, I'll be honest, this is probably the hardest problem on the test, on the quiz, review, whatever this thing is. I do think that this is slightly easier on the test because it's smaller numbers. I recognize this as a perfect square trinomial because the first term is a perfect square and the second term is a perfect square. So I'm going to use that to help me. Unfortunately, these three terms do not have anything in common. So you do have to multiply 16 times 81. So you're looking for two numbers that multiply to give you 1,296. Those same numbers have to add up to negative 72. When you notice that the first term and the last term are perfect squares, that's probably a hint that it's a perfect square trinomial. So I looked at what is the square root of 1,296. And the square root of 1,296 is 36. So 36 times 36 is 1,296. If I make both of those negative, negative 36 and negative 36 adds up to negative 72. So if you do factor by grouping, because I know most of you prefer factor by grouping, even though it takes way more time, and you could get this factored a whole lot faster if you just did factor by guess and check. 16x and 36x. 16x squared and negative 36x have 4x in common. That would give us 4x minus 9. Negative 36 and 81 have negative 9 in common. Let's drop that negative down, and that would leave us with 4x minus 9. So our factored form is 4x minus 9 times 4x minus 9. That looks really funky, doesn't it? Sorry. So basically, 4x minus 9 has to equal 0. Add 9 to both sides. Divide both sides by 4. X equals 9/4. Positive 9/4. Number 9. 3x cubed equals negative 20x squared plus 32x. We need to start by getting 0 on one side, and I want to keep this positive because that's my largest exponent. So I'm going to add 20x squared to both sides and subtract 32x on both sides. What do these three terms have in common? We can divide all of these terms not by 3, unfortunately, but we can divide all of them by an x. So we're going to pull an x out of all of them. Now we need to factor the trinomial inside the parentheses. We do have to multiply 3 times negative 32. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to give us negative 96. Those same numbers have to add up to 20. All right. For this, I just started in my calculator. 96 divided by 2 is 48. No. 96 divided by 3 is 32. 3 and 32. No. 96 divided by 4 is 24. That would work if it was negative 4 and positive 24. And I'll do factor by grouping. I really prefer, actually I'm going to do guess and check because I can. 3x and x. 3x times something is going to give me one of these numbers. So probably it's going to give me the 24x. 3 times 8 is 24, which means x times something is going to have to give me negative 4x. So that's a negative 4. So our factored form is x, 3x minus 4, x plus 8 equals 0. And that gives us the solutions 0, negative 8. This one, 3x minus 4 has to equal 0. 3x equals positive 4. So x equals 4/3. Our answers are 0, positive 4/3, and negative 8. If you want to see that one doing factor by grouping, let me know. Hop onto the live chat, and I will help you with that one, factor by grouping. But I just really prefer guess and check because it's super fast on that one. And our last question, x cubed plus 5x squared minus 25x minus 125 equals 0. 4 terms we do have to factor by grouping. These 4 terms don't have anything in common, so no GCF. The first 2 terms, we can pull x squared out of both of them. Drop the negative down. Negative 25x and negative 125 have negative 25 in common. That would leave us with x plus 5. So our factored form is x squared minus 25, x plus 5 equals 0. This first part is not fully factored. I see x squared minus and 25 is a perfect square. So that splits into x plus 5, x minus 5. So our solutions are negative 5, positive 5, and negative 5 again. We don't really need to mark it twice, so negative 5 and positive 5 are our solutions. Let's make sure I didn't make any mistakes. Yay, 100%. If you have any questions, please message me, email me, hop onto the live chat, let me know.